VBA. Actually, why we need this history of VBA. All right. So if we talk about a history of VBA, it's all started with Excel. All right. So we have different versions like Excel 1.0. Then we started with 2.0. Then we have 3.0. Then we got almost like 2000 version. Then we have 2003. Then we have 2007 maybe 2010. 2013, 2016, and the latest version available in the market right now is your 2019 version. So don't worry which version I'm using right now. I'm using 2016. You might be using a 2012 or maybe 13 or 7 or 6, whatever the version you're using, nothing to worry about it. So if you look at the history, the Excel has started long way back. It's almost 3.5 decades ruling the world, and there is no competitor for this spreadsheet world because there is a Google Sheet, of course, but in India, mostly we are using Excel for day-to-day job. If you talk about worldwide, 90% of the people are using Microsoft product, that is Excel. So as you all know, Excel is from Microsoft. So when I say Excel, Excel is not just Excel because we have other Office applications as well. I'm sure like most of you guys know, whenever you are trying to install MS Office, you'll also get MS Word, PowerPoint, MS Access, SharePoint, Outlook. These are all the Office applications, right? So uh, when the first version was released, actually there is no VBA. VBA almost started like when it started with the 2097 version or somewhere. It started with VBA there. VBA is basically automation kind of a extension which they've implemented in the Excel. So before we talk about VBA more, actually there is a concept called VB. Okay, it's not VBA, it's a VB. VB stands for Visual Basic for Visual Basic. Visual Basic is basically used as a front-end tool, and the back-end is something like a Oracle or something. They used to create a user interfaces. If example, if you go to any store, you'll find when you buy some products and you go to a store, you'll see some interface where they are entering your details. Okay, the interface what I'm referring. So they used to develop in the VBA the same VB concept, which is from the Microsoft again. They have included in the Microsoft applications like Excel, MS Word, Access. Somebody said was referring. If I learn VBA in Excel, I can also implement an Access. Yes, definitely. The only system. If you look at the syntax is little differ, the logic is same, the way we write the code is same. The only thing is the way you look at the things is different because MS Access is a database, whereas Excel is a spreadsheet application. The only difference is that otherwise you'll work in the same fashion when you're writing your VBA. So that's a little bit of a history of VBA, but I want to still understand what is VBA. I don't know. I know Excel been using since long time. There are a lot of versions I've seen. I know if you guys know there are 400 plus functions available in Microsoft Excel, right? We hardly know, and it doesn't matter if you even if you don't know. Like I know some formula, I know min formula, I know count formula, I know VLOOKUP, sum if, I know pivot table, I know charts. Even if you don't know the 400 plus functions, but still we can survive in this world because there's no need to learn everything. There are engineering related formulas. There is finance related formulas. Maybe that is not relevant to me, so I never learned it. So in the Excel, even if you are not covering the whole 400 plus functions, it doesn't mean that you are not the master of Excel. But however, when you look at the VBA, this stands for Visual Basic for Applications. It's a programming language. It's born for only Microsoft applications, not for anything. For example, if you talk about any other programming languages, we have a C, C++, Java. Now, currently, we are talking about Python, right? So these are all programming languages. But this VBA is also programming language, but its capacity or limitation, what we can use is within the Microsoft applications, not to create something else. Okay, we cannot use this programming language to create a website. We cannot use this to create a game development. Okay, VBA cannot be used for machine learning language, data science. No, this is specific to Microsoft applications only. Whereas other programming languages, when you talk about C, C++ or Python, you can use for anything, right? So data science you can use, machine learning language you can use for a game development for that matter. You can use it for website development. But this particular programming language is only specifically for Microsoft applications. That's it. So that means whatever the manual job you're doing in your Excel, everything can be automated. I'll take a few examples a little bit later. What are the things you can really do with VBA? But first thing we need to understand, VBA stands for Visual Basic for Applications, which is only meant for Microsoft applications, nothing else. Okay, I repeat, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Access, Microsoft Outlook for that matter. Okay, OneNote. These are all a bundle of applications which we have only in Microsoft. Okay, so does that mean that I cannot use VBA to connect to Internet Explorer, because Internet Explorer is not a Microsoft application, right? So that is not a Microsoft application, but can I connect to Chrome and open like Google and do searching with the help of a VBA? Yes, we can do that. That means your VBA has that capability of connecting to other applications which are non-Microsoft products. We can connect to them and do whatever the activity you have. For example, when I click on a button, I just want all the graphs from my Excel to be pasted automatically on Excel. Sorry, on the PowerPoint. Maybe once the PowerPoint has been saved, I want to automatically attach to Outlook and send an email. Okay, this is one example what we can do. I mean, I used to do manually. I'm not doing it anymore manually. I just want to click on the button and everything should be auto completed. So guys, VB is a programming language. We are learning a programming. So definitely you'll have a lot of questions. I'm learning VBA, it's a programming language. I'm not a technical guy. Can I learn this? Okay, because programming language, you need to definitely learn from the start to end, because today we are able to speak English. That means we put lot of time in order to speak fluently or to write fluently, because we put a lot of time, right? So what happens in terms of a programming language? Do I need to put so much of time? Because since childhood, when I started speaking English, now I became perfect in speaking English, let's assume. But do I need to spend the same amount of time to learn the programming languages? Not really. Because the thing is, you know already English, right? You know some language, any language. Generally, I'm able to speak, you guys are able to understand. You ask me a question, I'm able to understand your question, I'm able to answer you. That means we are able to communicate to each other, right? So what happens when you want to communicate with a computer? Does computer really understand my English language? I'm very good speaker, I can write very good English, but whether my computer understands us or not, I'm not sure. So that's why but computers have a different language called a programming language. That means when you learn the programming language, what happens is we are trying to communicate with the computer to make your job done. That means I'm telling my computer, can you please just copy this file from one location to another file? I'm writing that instructions in the form of programming language. Now the question is, you just told me like you are good at English, but how did that help me to learn the programming language? Yes, of course. Every programming language will be based on your English language only. Only thing is like you need to follow certain rules. I still remember when I'm learning English or any other language, there are certain rules and regulations, right? You need to learn past tense, present tense, future tense. There are certain kinds of rules and regulations which you need to follow in order to really be perfect in English. In the same way, in the programming language also, if you want to be master of programming language, any programming language for that matter, you need to see how the syntax goes, what are the keywords I need to use, how to write the programming. Believe me guys, once after completing this VBA course, you can learn any programming language on your own, because I'm just taking this VBA and not just as a VBA. I'll make you understand to learn any programming language on your own way, because the only difference you need to understand between programming language to programming language. Okay, Python, it doesn't take much time. C++ doesn't take much time. The only thing is you need to know the right approach to learn. Though we are learning VBA, but also I'll try to touch up those points, how easy it will be to learn any other language. That will be really helpful for you. So that's the simplest thing. That's what I understood. If I learn programming language, I can talk to computer. But again, the question is, does my computer know programming language? Not really. Computer knows only one language, that is a binary language. Okay, that the computer can understand only 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1. That is what the computer language is. That is called as a binary language. So again, my question, you just told me you're good at English, you know a programming language. Again, you're talking about a binary language. Yes, of course. I'm writing programming language so that I can communicate to the computer. But computer can never understand my English. My computer can never understand what program I'm writing. But your system will convert that programming language will be converted to a binary language so that the computer can understand what you're asking. So computer will always understand forever. That is only a binary language called 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1. That's a language what computer understand. So again, there is a question which was bothering me. When the computer understands 0 1 0 1 something, why you're not coding any program in 0 1 0 1? It's highly impossible for the human to code in such language and to talk to computer. No, it's highly impossible. So that's why we have some programming language in place, like it may be a C, C++, Java, maybe JavaScript or Python or VBA, whatever the language you talk about. When I was reading an article in somewhere around 2000 year, I still remember there are some 12,000 programming languages existing in this world, 12,000 plus. Just imagine, out of which there are only 50 popular and out of which we know only few. Python is one which is really coming in boom now. Like everybody's talking about Python. They want to learn irrespective of what we're going to do with that. Because going forward, if you don't know coding, believe me guys, if you don't know coding, we are going to be considered as illiterates. Maybe you're a chartered accountant, maybe you're MBA graduate, maybe you're engineering, where whatever you are, but if you don't know coding, the future going to say that you are an illiterate person. That's what the market research says now, because everybody should know the program, how to program the computer to make your job done. That's why if you see the schools and colleges already started implementing this programming language as one of the subject. Python, kids are learning already Python. The reason is programming language become must now, irrespective of the field you're working. No matter whether you're marketing, whether you're pharmaceutical, whether you are in banking domain, whether you are in sales, doesn't matter at all. You need to have one programming language to go ahead to survive in this technology, because there are a lot of big words coming up like data science, machine learning language, and deep neural networks, Python. A lot of things are happening. So that's a little bit history of a VBA. So what VBA can do, we'll see in a next couple of seconds. But before that, I want to understand, I'm using 2016 version, but you guys might be having like 2003 maybe. You guys may be having 2007, 2010. Somebody is having 2013. Somebody is having latest version called 2019. No matter whatever the version you are using, because when you're writing a program in your in your one of the version, that same macro can be opened in any version. Okay, I hope you guys understand what is the version mean, because Excel has growing like anything since 3.5 decades. I can say it's almost 35 years, still standing strong in the market. The reason is there's no such competitor who can beat the Microsoft, because Microsoft Excel. But the reason is uh, nobody's able to give that much of quality product. And every year with a new version, Excel is evolving like anything. I mean, it's always coming with new features in terms of the formulas, the style, the look, whatever it may be. But the VBA remains same. That means when you code your VBA in Excel 2003 version, whether you're coding in 2019, it doesn't matter. It's the same, because we are not really working on Excel surface. Rather, you are working behind the scenes. You are coding something for the Excel. So trust me, if somebody asks like, what is the version I need to use? Just a simple answer, any version will do. As long as, one caution here, please do guys, this 2003 is a very old. Don't, if you have that version, just uninstall it. Nobody's using for that matter. It's not available in the market as well. But the best versions can be used is from 2007, because from the 2007 to 2019, the versions are really changed. I mean, the look and feel is completely different. You might have seen ribbons. Okay, the color combinations is changed. The extensive formulas have been increased. So I suggest if you use, as I said, like any version will do. For the, at the same time, I'm also saying from 2007 to 2019, any version you can use, doesn't matter at all. All right, guys. So that's a very important thing you need to understand. Which version of Excel I should use? The answer is anything later 2007, right? Guys, later anything beyond after 2007, you can use the version. Don't go prior to version. First of all, it's not available. But if you have a whole system like Windows XP where the 2003 is installed, just uninstall and go for a Windows 7 or Windows 10. Try to install the latest so that you can work with. But having said that, any version will do. But again, I repeat, anything later 2007 will be a very good to work. When the look is good, the editor looks good, there are a lot of changes has been done. So don't go for a 2003, go for a 2007 version. That's about the version. So let's talk about the very important topic which we are learning, that is VBA. All right. So most of the people I still remember, like some people say I'm learning macros. Okay. Some people say I'm learning VBA. I could not differentiate, like somebody saying I'm learning VBA, somebody saying macros, what exactly it is. If you talk about anyone in your organization, any colleague, some people say I'm learning macros, I'm running macros, I'm implementing macros. Some people say I'm implementing VBA, I'm implementing macros, I'm learning macros. So a lot of confusion. Don't get confused here. What is a VBA and what is macros? So whether you're using a VBA, whether you're using a macros, doesn't matter at all, because both words, okay, buzzwords are interchangeably used. That means even if you say VBA, it's okay. Even if you're saying macros, it's okay. But as now you're learning, you should use a proper word. That is, you should always say VBA, not macros actually. Why? Because macros are nothing but a set of instructions which you're writing in the form of code. Okay. Macros are nothing but a set of instructions which you're writing in the form of a code by using a language called VBA. Okay, so macros can never be a macros without a language called VBA. So always remember, VBA stands for Visual Basic for Application. It's a programming language meant for only Microsoft applications. And by using this language, whatever the XYZ, I don't know how to write the syntax at this moment, but whatever the code you write by using VBA, that is called as a macros. Hope this is very clear what is VBA and what is macros. Macros is nothing but set of instructions which you are giving to your computer. When I click on this button, something should happen. Something should copy from one file to other file. Something should go to an Outlook email. Something should go to a PPT. Something, whatever the activity might be. So that is a macro, of course, but that code is being written by using a language called VBA. One more thing, guys, those who have never been seeing this coding in their life, don't worry at all. If you have not never programmed in your life, don't worry. I'm starting from scratch. You will see the real beauty of programming language with the Visual Basic. I'm not saying, if I'm saying in your life you should start with VBA, then only you can learn any other programming language. No. People still say like you should start your life, if you want to be a technical guy, you need to start with C language, then go for a C++, then go for a Java, then come for a Python. Now everybody is saying like you should start your life with Python. I don't mind whatever the statement might be, but I'm not saying like VBA should be the starting point. But if you learn VBA, that is meant for only office applications, because we every day in day out we use Excel, right? So you're learning VBA, but later on learning any other programming language will be easy after learning this VBA, because it's more or less share the same kind of syntax. All right, guys. So that's about what is macro. Very important. Next, after understanding what is macro and what is VBA, what automations VBA can do. Okay, that's a big question. What automation? What is that automation? What automation VBA can do? Uh, as for my personal experience is concerned, if I remember correctly, like over a decade when I was working, I never seen any kind of a limitations. That means I can do whatever I want with the Excel. Believe me, you can do whatever the automation. For example, look at your colleague, whatever is working manually. Okay, you'll get an input file from the business. From that input file, you will try to copy and paste into different pages. Later on, he's saving each sheet as a separate workbook. Then he's sending with the help of an Outlook email. Let's assume 54 countries, you are sending 54 files individually, sending an email. It will take at least a 1 day. And first of all, saving that each sheet as a file, definitely there can be a mistakes, but if you start programming these kind of activities, you can never go wrong. So the simple answer, what VBA, what automations VBA can do is there is no limit. As long as you are within the Excel environment, you can do whatever the manual job you're doing, you can automate by using this VBA. And one of the best example would be most of the time you might be working, I'm not sure, but in banking domain, it happens very frequently. When you click on a button, it should start generating PowerPoint slides automatically on its own, based on the country or based on the product or based on the employee, based on the region, whatever it may be, the case may be. You want to generate different PowerPoints and you want to attach them to Outlook, or you want to send it, or you want to take a print, whatever the activity might be. You can also connect with the other office applications like MS Word. I can connect with PowerPoint, I can connect with Outlook, I can connect to Internet Explorer, or it could be a Chrome. Sometimes it happens like you most of the time you receive a data through the Internet Explorer, nothing but a web-based applications, right? You have in-house applications. So when you want to interact with those kind of applications also, there is a possibility. But before that, that's a kind of a advanced level of writing a code. But before that, we need to start with the ABC. Of course, we'll start with. So I'm just giving an example like what else you can do. You can do anything which is being done manually so far. Anything. There is no limit. And again, I'm not insisting that you should be expert in Excel in order to learn the VBA. Nothing like that. Even if you know few formulas, that's enough to start with VBA, because VBA doesn't talk about formulas more. It talks about more of a programming language. So that's about what VBA automations can do. Let me resume the recording. All right. All right, so we have just covered what automations VB can do. Whenever you have any question in your mind, is this possible to automate? Is this possible? Just before you ask me a question, you can also start visualizing now. What are the different activities which I'm working in my organization? The only answer which I always try to share with my participant is just ask yourself a question. Are you able to do it manually? If the answer is yes, that can be automated. That's it. That means what you do basically, you open an Excel, you open the input file, you copy the data, and from the data, you'll split that data into different formats. I'm just giving you an example. You try to split that information into different sheets. From there, you'll try to create a beautiful pivot table, maybe. After that, you'll try to give some VLOOKUP or something. Okay. In order to make a final report, you do all these steps, right? When you are able to do this manually, that means you can also automate. The only answer before you ask any question to anyone, or ask yourself a question, a simple question you need to be asked, am I able to do it manually? Then yes, you can also automate it. The only thing is you need to how to automate it, right? So that's about what automations can do. Let's talk about a very important topic where my secret is lying here: file types.
कर ना तुझ्याकडे ना आता इथे वरती वरती एक ग्रीन कलर मध्ये दिसतंय बघ विविंग
All right, so file types. File types in the sense, we all know when we save an Excel workbook, what is the extension? The extension is going to be .xlsx, right? So let me put it here. The very first file type is your .xlsx. Okay, this is nothing but your Excel format, Excel file format. Even if you don't know the Excel extensively, by default, whenever you save a file, it will be saved with an extension called .xlsx, right? Let me go to MS Word. When I save my Word document, what is the extension? It's a .docx, right? If you try to save your PowerPoint, you'll got PPTX. If you try to save your MS Access, it will be ACCDB. What I'm trying to refer is whenever you're trying to save any file, it has its own extension. So by default, whenever you save your Excel file, you'll be finding .xlsx. Okay, of course, it's a file name, then .xlsx. Now I want to understand more what is .xlsx. .xlsx basically, it is a file which consists of your raw data. Okay, it consists of your graphs, it consists of your formulas, it consists of everything actually. In fact, it consists of everything. That is what you see in day-to-day job. XLSX format, it is nothing but Excel file format. It can contain your raw data, graphs, VLOOKUP, charts, whatever you talk about. The next very important extension is, now that I'm learning VBA, I should know this extension. That is a file name .xlsm. What does it mean? It is also a Excel file format with macros. All right. This is also a file format with macros. That means now that I'm writing my macros, I cannot save my file with extension called .xlsx. Rather, I need to start saving the file. I'll show you in a couple of minutes how to save the file in the Excel. But before that, let's try to have an understanding how the file looks like. I mean, the extensions looks like. We have XLSX format. We have .xlsm. The word itself, the last letter is indicating M stands for your macro. Nothing but the file format name is Excel macro enabled file. Macro enabled file. That means the the statement is indicating you. This is not a simple Excel file, but also having some coding in the Excel. Way to write the coding, we'll see little later. But what I'm referring right now, Excel is going to contain data, at the same time it is going to contain code. That means, can I save the file, a file which consists of a VBA programming with the XLSX? No, that's time is gone now. Whatever the file you are saving so far, Excel is okay. If you are saving only data, there is no coding, you are not programmed, you are not automated, you can still save the file with .xlsx. But now going forward, we are going to save the file only with XLSM, not with XLXX. The reason is this file cannot hold code. It doesn't know, this file format doesn't know how to hold the code. That means whenever your Excel file consists of any VBA code or macro code, so far whatever you call it as, this cannot hold. So we cannot save the file with XLSS anymore, because my file is going to have from today some code. So that means you are going to use XLSM only. The next one is my secret. Okay, the secret which I'm going to share now, I'm sure most of you guys, I want you to implement and try to get impressed with your boss. The first secret which I'm going to release now, the extension is XLSB. Okay, Excel binary format. Guys, this is very, very important. I'll repeat many times to make you understand how important is this. The next file extension available in Excel is XLSB. XLSB stands for Excel binary format. Now I have a clarity here till now, because XLSX can store any information. It is a Excel format. I understood that. And I also understand the drawback of XLSX cannot hold VBA code. So I'm not going to use this. A big no for XLSX. That I can understand. I can understand this also. As you said, XLSX only consists of raw data, but XLSM can hold Excel data at the same time macros. So that's an advantage basically when you are trying to save any file with XLSM. But when it comes to XLSA, that's the question again. When you have XLSM in the place, why need to have XLSB? All right. So the last one is my favorite, and it's going to be your favorite now. The reason is it has lot of advantages. Guys, believe me, if you are having a file size of 1 GB in your organization, you can reduce to 100%. 100%, maybe if you have 1 GB of file, can be converted to 100 MB. Just imagine how much size you are decreasing. That means if you save your any file, whether it is a macro file, whether it's an Excel file, just open the file. Okay, keep the original file like that, take a copy of that file and save that file as XLSB. Your file will reduce the size, first thing. Second thing, when you want to save the file, it will be quick. When you want to open the file, it will be quick. I've seen most of the time in the banking or in the call center operational data, they're really heavy. Whenever you want to open, it will at least take 5 to 10 minutes. And when you want to save also, sometimes I've seen the file will take a lot of time. When you want to open, when you want to save, when you want to close, in every action, the file will take a lot of time, but not to worry now. Just if you are working with lot of files, just make sure you are taking copy of that files and put it in a separate folder and try to save that file as XLSB, and you'll be surprised to see that the file size is decreased completely. One of my in the previous batch, one of the participant is working extensively with a lot of files. Every day he gets like 54 files. For each country he'll get one file, that is 54 files. So it's almost crossing some GBs. What he has done is he's converted all the files into almost like XLSB, and the size which is saved is awesome. So that he has converted into a project. Actually, if you look at that project, there's no technical stuff is required. He simply saved the file and put it in the XLSB, and he has given the instructions in his portfolio or in his team, like every file should be saved as XLSB. That's how they saved a lot of disk space, and they've been awarded for that because he is saving space, right? Every organization always try to eliminate the waste. They want to save time, space, everything. So start using XLSB format. I'll show you in a couple of minutes when I open my Excel how different it is when you save a file as XLSB. So before I go ahead again, I just want to repeat this again. XLSS can contain Excel data only. That is your formulas, your raw data, your charts, maybe your whatever, like what you basically do in Excel, everything it contain raw data, millions of rows, it can contain whatever. But the only problem is it cannot hold VBA code. So that means I should never use XLSX format now. That's it, because I'm learning VBA. Either I should use XLSM, either I should use XLSB, because these two files have the capability of holding that macros. Holding that macros. These two are just born to hold that macro, whatever the macro you're writing. Whether it's a smallest, even you write a single line of code, you need to save the file with the XLSM or XLSB only. There is no other way. And why I'm asking you to avoid XLSM, only use XLSB. The reason is it will drastically decrease the size of your file. Okay, it will reduce the file, and it will also help you to save the file very quickly, because you might have already experienced when you're trying to save a file, it will take a lot of time sometimes because your Excel file has a lot of data. Let's assume in that way. And to open the file also, it will take time. To close the file also, it will take time. So whatever the reason might be, when you see, you'll find a lot of difference from today. Whenever you are trying to save, open, close, and the file size will be decreased drastically. The very important question comes here. Okay, you are drastically compressing the file from 1 GB to 100 MB. I'm not writing a code here, guys. I'm not using my brain here. I'm just trying to save my file as XLSB. That's it. The magic is done. I'm not writing a code. I'm not using my technical skills, nothing. I'm just saving the file as XLSB. Most of the people doesn't know this. They always save, if it is a macro file, they will try to save as XLSM. If it is a normal file, they will try to save as XLSB. From today, whether it is a normal Excel file, whether it is a macro file, blindly save your file as XLSB. That's it. You have seen the advantages. What are the advantages? Reduce the size, save quickly, opens quickly, close quickly, and the file size will drastically decrease. Drastically decrease. You will see amazing results. You can check it out with your office files, but make sure before you do anything, just take a copy so that you can tell to your boss, see, originally this is a file size and I converted to this size. Again, a caution here. There's no caution actually. I just want to let you know. A lot of people ask me this question. Okay, you are reducing the file size and it is opening very quickly, saving quickly, closing quickly. I'm really happy, but does it really lose the content? Does the colors will change? Because when you're compressing the video, for example, the quality will decrease, right? From HD to, when you're trying to convert to a small ratio of a video file, the quality will go off. But in terms of Excel, you are not going to lose any content. Your formulas will be intact, your colors will be intact. Colors in the sense related to charts or something will be intact. Your data will not go here and there. Everything is same. There is no change. If you want to see practically, pick up a one big file, copy, save as XLSD, start differentiating. What is the difference I found? You'll not see any difference. You'll see only difference is reduced file, but not at the contents level. So that's a very important secret which I want to share. That is, whenever you use Excel SB, the file size will be reduced drastically. Drastically in the sense drastically. There is I can't even tell because it all depends upon the file. If it is 1 GB, I'm saying just hypothetical number here. But however, sometimes you'll see the file will also decrease to KBs depending upon the size of your file. So resume recording. All right. So now the topic is case types. Case types. Case types in the sense, this is one more important aspect which you need to understand. If I'm learning a C language, I still remember I'm supposed to write in only lowercase. Let me understand what is lowercase. Lowercase. One is uppercase. One is proper case. Proper case in the sense something like this. Monty Excel. Okay, Monty Excel. There are three different what do you call? Okay, there are three different cases, right? We all know there is a lowercase, there is a uppercase, there is a proper case. This is called as a lowercase. This is called as a uppercase. This is called as a Monty Excel. We all know these cases actually, but why we are talking about this one? Yes, when I'm learning a C language, I need to write the entire coding style in the lowercase. There is no such language which will tell you you need to write in uppercase. Of course, there is no such language. But the question is, now I'm learning VBA, which case I need to use? I'm big fan of writing in uppercase. Can I write it? I'm big fan of lowercase. Can I write in lowercase? I'm a big fan of using proper case. Proper case is in the sense the first letter will be upper and the rest of the letters will be lower. The first letter will be upper, the rest of the letters will be in lower. The best example is Monty Excel, where M is a capital and X is a capital here. That is a proper case. Okay, proper case. Upper case is where you'll see only alphabets which are in upper, and this is a lower one. So as I said, there are few languages. Even if you talk about a Python, I don't know how many you are learning. If you're talking about a Python, you might have seen this. When you're writing your code in Python, you need to use lowercase. It is very strict. Python will not allow you to type something in uppercase. It will not allow you because that is how the programming language is built. And we need to follow that golden rules. We need to follow the golden rules. Otherwise, your programming language will not allow you to write the program and you will not get the desired output what you want. So the next one is now been learning VBA, which case type I need to use, whether it's a lowercase, uppercase, or proper case, which case I should start writing my code. The answer here is again funny thing. Whether you write in a lowercase, whether you write in a proper case, whether you write in an uppercase doesn't matter at all. The reason is when you start writing coding, you'll realize that whenever you're writing in uppercase, it will automatically convert that style, what you're writing in proper case. Got it, guys? So whatever you're writing, the language style of your data, the code, uppercase or lowercase doesn't matter at all. It will automatically convert into a proper case. All right. So the next topic here is having seen what case to be used while programming your VBA. The next one would be naming conventions. Naming conventions, what does it mean actually? Naming conventions in the sense, the way you and I have a names, because in this group, if I take somebody's name, Angelina, that means she will say, yes, that means I'm trying to identify a person with a name and you're also responding me because that is your name. So in the VBA, what happens is whenever you're building a macros, okay, let's say I'm creating a macro here. I don't know how to write the program now, but assume that you're giving a macro name for now. How should I give the name? Can I give my name as a macro name? Can I give my name as macro name? Something like Monty I've given. Is that a macro name here? Yes, that's a macro name. But in the real world, for a practice sake, you can give your name, my name, doesn't matter. But practically, when you're writing a program, always try to give a proper name for your automation. That is, if you're working in something called accounting, you are trying to prepare a journal entry, try to give a macro name as journal entry. something like that. So how your macro name should start? Okay, what is good name for macros? Let's start writing that. The first, if you want to say my first macro as a macro name, for example, this is my macro name, what I've written as my first macro. So whenever you're writing a macro names, always you need to remember you are not supposed to use the spaces. That means if you use spaces, your macro will not understand. Guys, I told you like you need to follow certain rules, and VBA is not that really strict actually. It has very, very easy golden rules which we can easily remember. And whatever topic I'm talking about now, you are going to see till the last session. I keep talking about that only because you are creating a macro, so you need to always give a proper name to that. So whenever you have a spaces, it will not understand the macro name. So if you want to make this macro name perfect name, you need to use the name as my underscore first underscore macro. So this is a good name, but this is a bad name. Why? It has spaces, and macro, your VBA will never allow a name with a spaces. So that's what I mean to say. This is correct, but this is wrong. That is, if you are using a spaces in between, this is wrong. Okay. Your macro name cannot have spaces. Okay, I understood the very first part. But first of all, why should I use an underscore? Can I make the name something like this otherwise? Mice, no space, first, no space. Is it a correct or wrong? This is a correct one again. Because your macro name can be a single word, but when you have a double words like first, my first macro, it's a more than one word. So whenever you have a more than one word, we are supposed to use underscore or club all these three words into one, the way I said in the third text. That is, my first macro is a single word, whereas here it's a three words which is combined with underscores. So this is a correct one, this is a wrong one, this is again a correct one. Let me see the some more example because I want to understand, because this is your bread and butter now. Because before you write thousands of lines of code, first you need to understand how to write a macro name. What should be the appropriate name? The way you and I have a names, even macros have a names, right? So there should be a proper rule to be followed to give the macro name here. So the next one is, can I say something like 123 macro? Okay, is it correct or wrong? This is wrong. The reason is your macro name can never start with numbers. Your macro name can never start with numbers. So let me see, but I want a macro which where I want to put some numbers also, something like 786. Yes, this is a correct, this is a correct, this is a correct macro name. The reason is macro name is not starting with numbers, but can end with the numbers. Not a problem. This is a correct macro name. All right. So the next one, let's see. My macro name, I want to start with something like at the rate special symbols. Okay. This is my macro name. Okay. Is this correct? No, it's wrong. The reason is your macro name can never start with a special characters, but can be followed with special characters. So let me say this is a special characters. Now I'm just removing this macro name. Here you can use at the rate ash, whatever your favorite keywords on your keyboard. This is the correct one again. Let me put it in a proper way. Okay, all right. So I'm opening my Excel for the first time. When I open my Excel for the first time, this is how it looks like. It's being a 2016 version. Okay, I can see the lot of menus here. That is a file menu. I know what the file menu does. I'm been using it. It opens a new workbook. It opens a new Excel file. It opens an existing file. It will save the file. It will save as. It can print. It can share. It can export. Okay, these are the file menu properties. If you look at the home, what I can do with the home, there are a lot of clipboard actions I can do. I can do a lot of font related options. I can do a lot of alignments. I can do a lot of number formatting, conditional formatting, insert. I can do a lot of things with the home, right? Let me see what is there in the insert menu. When I go to the insert menu, I can see how to create the pivot table, how to create a charts. I can do a lot of stuff with the insert one. Let me go to the page layout. When I go to the page layout, this is what I remember. When you want to take a print, whatever the job you have done, great job. You want to take a print, I want to show your boss, you want to talk to in the board meeting, definitely you'll be using this option, taking a print, sizes, width, top, width, okay, bottom. You all set right, then you'll take a print. What is the next option available? That is formula. So this is a section where you'll extensively use how to use this formula, so-called 400 plus functions what we have in Excel, but we hardly know most of them. We use regular ones like VLOOKUP, sum if, okay, sum, count, average. What are the formulas you know? If you go to the data, this is a new feature which has been added from 2007. It is not existing in previous version. So that's what I was saying. Like you need to start using from 2007 version rather than using the older version. So please, guys. All right. So we have a data menu, we have a review menu, we have a view menu. So why I'm talking about menus is because this is not an Excel session, and why we are talking about a menus because I don't see anywhere a menu which is talking about VBA. I don't see any menu here which is talking about a macros. I don't see any menu which is talking about come here, sit, start writing the code. I don't see anything here. These are all menus which are by default available in your Excel. Of course, we can increase or decrease. We can increase or decrease by your Excel options, right? The way you have changed the color of your Excel, the way you change the saving option, you can do that. Now, my curiosity is where should I start writing the code? This is my Excel. I know where I can write my code here, right? Where I can write my Excel formulas. Like I want to write a sum formula here. Let me put a sum formula. Okay, I did a great job. I put my sum formula here, right? Quickly I could able to put the sum formula. I'm able to do the VLOOKUP. I'm able to create the chart. My question here is where to write the code. Can you tell me where to write the code? Yes, the menu is not existing by default here. The Microsoft Excel has designed Excel in such a way Excel can be used as a Excel, and at the same time you can use this Excel as a developer mode also, where most of the people doesn't know, because until unless when you're learning VBA, then only you'll come to know. Otherwise, a normal Excel user will never see that menu at all. So how to go to that menu? Let's take a look. Very important, very first basic step, how to invoke that menu to get that developer mode. Okay, I'll go to the file, I'll go to the options. I'll repeat twice or thrice, but let's try to take a look. I just went to the file option here. I went to the options. In the options, there is something called customize this ribbon. Okay. Let me talk about what is ribbon. Ribbon is nothing but this one. All right. This is what you see. Earlier, it used to call as a menu bar in the 2003 version, but in the latest versions, it is called as a ribbon. Okay. Polished way, but the same thing. It has a huge icons which you have not seen in the 2003 version, but now we have large icons in Excel, right? So let me talk about this one, customize ribbon. This ribbon you want to customize in the sense, when I go to customize ribbon, any menu, for example formulas, I don't want to see as a menu. I just uncheck it. I say okay. I say okay. Here what happens when I say okay, you will see that particular menu has gone, right? There is no such menu called formula here. That means you can customize your Excel application by adding menus or removing menus. But let us not remove anything from the menus, because those are really important menus, and formulas is very, very important. So let me go back to the options and go to the customize ribbon and click back. That means when you click on this and say okay, you will see the formula menu is again came back as normal. So again, I'm going to file so that I can remember this forever, how to customize your ribbon effectively. As I said, don't try to remove any existing menus. They are really, really important. When you go to the customize ribbon again, there is one option which is not selected, that is called as developer. As I said, the development mode by default is never not available. We need to check and get it back. That means once you click on developer mode and say okay, then you are going to see amazing menu. I can say a developer menu at the last. You can see at the last there is a menu called developer. Okay, just like your file menu, home menu, insert menu, page layout, formulas, data, review, view, there is a new menu which is come up now, that is developer. Once I click on developer, I want to see what are the features available. Okay, let me click on that. Just click on the developer, you can see all these menus, all these icons. Okay, so there are a lot of icons here. We'll keep working with each icon, of course, but for now, if I want to understand where to start my write coding, still that question is not answered, because this is a Excel. I can write formulas. I am master of Excel. I can write my Excel formulas, but still I am not sure where to write the my code. Yes, because now you got a new menu called developer. With this, within this developer, we have certain icons. This is basically called as a ribbon, right? So in this ribbon, we have the very first one, that is first block is related to code. Why I was trying to explain what is home menu, insert menu, because every block is talking about one thing. If you look at the home, this is entire resume recording. All right. So in the development mode, the very first blocks talks about the code part related. That means the first block is talking about Visual Basic. The second one is talking about a macros, a record, okay, macro securities. And here it is talking about add-ins. Here it is talking about a controls, extensive packs. What are these menus? I'm not really understanding at this moment because I want to learn step by step. All right. So as I mentioned, this is a basically an Excel, but it is not really giving me creating any room for me to write my code. Where to write code, still it is not clear because I'm in the developer mode, but I need to invoke that particular window. Invoking the window in the sense, that means we invoking in a window in the sense, this is an Excel application which doesn't have any other special editor where I can write my code. So to invoke that editor, either you can click on Visual Basic, or you can use a shortcut key. If somebody is using shortcut extensionally, for them you always have Microsoft product giving a shortcut key, that is Alt F11. Once you say Alt F11, what happens is you will see that beautiful code window where you are going to write your code. That is a very first shortcut. Okay, am I telling you the shortcut to learn? Not really, because the previous Excel versions we used to, I don't know if how many people used to do that, used to take a print of all the shortcuts and used to keep on the your keyboard or on your table, so that you keep checking what is the shortcut for this and used to practice and used to remember. But now it's not required. Don't take any printouts, because your new Excel versions has a capability of showing that shortcut keys directly. So that means when I place my mouse pointer on Visual Basic icon, it is telling me what is the shortcut key to be used, that is Alt F11. When I click on the don't click, just place your mouse pointer. When I place my mouse pointer on this, it is telling me to view the macros, that is Alt F8. Alt F8 is the key to use to view your macros. What is that view macros? In the sense, you have developed some macros and I want and you want to view them. So that is what the shortcut you are going to use. That is a Alt F8. That is a second shortcut. The very first shortcut is Alt F11. The second one is Alt F8. These are the two shortcut keys you are keep using as long as you're working in your Excel VBA. Those are the two shortcuts. And the one additional shortcut here, which I want to tell you, which will be there, will open the doors for all the shortcuts. So how to work with any shortcut which is available in Excel? The biggest tip is use a continuous press on your Alt key. Okay, press continuously Alt key. It will highlight the letters on each menu. For example, from here I want to go to home button. Let's assume I just click on H. From here I want to color that cell. Let's go for H, because that yellow color is showing as H. So let me, I'm blindly going with the letters, I don't know the shortcuts. I'm going with H. Now it is telling me if you want to more colors, go for the colors or select anything. Okay, I'm selecting some blue, I'm saying okay. That means now guys, there's no need to remember the keys. There's no need to learn or remember things. Just use Alt key on your Excel and go to any menu, whichever menu you are referring. If I want to go to insert menu, go to Alt N. Okay, if you want to go to formula menu, say SH. That's it. Whatever, wherever you want to go, just remember the shortcut keys by using one particular key called Alt key. Alt key will make your uh, Alt key will try to make your menus highlighted at the top. That means if I want to go to file menu, just Alt F. That means it's taking me to Alt. From here, I want to go to open a workbook. So I'll say after clicking on Alt F, then I'm clicking on O. So that means you can activate any shortcut key just like that by using one particular biggest secret keyword, that is Alt key. Hope you understand how to activate any keys in normal Excel. That's not the part of VBA, but however, just trying to understand how to use the shortcuts. Now, having understood like there are the two shortcuts in VBA in order to work with. So let me click very first keyword. Okay, I'm not good at shortcuts. So what is the other way? In Microsoft products, always you'll have two options. Either use shortcut keys, either use a mouse pointer. You can use the mouse pointer to go to developer tab, or you can also use your shortcut keys. Like I don't know how to go to developer. Let me experiment now. I clicking on continuously Alt. I'm going to, okay, I understood now. I need to, if I want to go to a developer tab, I need to click on L. Okay, very good. If I want to go to the Visual Basic, I need to click on V. That's how I'm learning the Excel shortcuts myself. Nobody's teaching me. That's it. I don't want to ask anybody. I don't want to ask my colleague. I don't want to ask Google even. What is the shortcut key for this? Don't ask every. Just click on Alt key. You'll get all the key functionalities within your Microsoft product. That's a new feature what is available with a new Excel versions. Now, as I said, there's a shortcut key Alt F11. How do I know that? Because when I place my mouse pointer, I learned, okay, there is a Alt F11 which you can use to open the editor. What editor? I don't know now. Let's see. Along with, so I'm clicking on Alt F11. You'll see this beautiful dialog box which is going to appear in front of you. Now my question is this dialog box within the Excel or a separate one? Let's see. Okay, it's a separate window, right? Now let me put it in two different parts so that you can clearly understand what it is. Alt F11 I clicked in order to get back to the screen. I'm now just made into two parts so that I can see Excel and as well as this window. All right. So I clicked on Alt F11 to invoke this one. I'll keep using this keyword till my last session or as long as I'm working on VBA. All right. So this is a window where you are going to write your code. What type of code you are going to write, that is the later part, because I don't even know the basics now. I'm just trying to comfort myself with the Excel, going to these windows and playing around for some time so that I can start really building the code for myself. So the very first one, so let me make it bigger now. This is also full screen. Now, if I want to go to Excel, I can use this old keyword called Alt Tab. Okay, this is how I can shuffle between window to window, but otherwise you can use Alt F11 same to go to the window and come back to your Excel also. We can use the same Alt F11. That means you can use Alt F11 to come back to your Excel. You can also use Alt F11 to go back to your editor. So this is what I'm going to do throughout my sessions. I'm going to write a piece of code. I want to come back to my Excel. I want to see the output. This is what you do, right? So Alt F11, now I got the window. This window is looking really boring because nothing is there here. I don't know still where to write the code. If I see it's not typable, okay, it's not allowing me to do anything here. So there are certain windows which you need to understand here. Windows in the sense which it's like a floating windows. Okay, it's like a boxes. Let's assume for time 9 for now. It's like a floating windows which will help you to enhance your code. It will help you to write your code. It will enhance to make your code beautiful, actually to look beautiful. So for that, all right, so the very first window which I would like to learn in my VB environment is the very first one, very important again. If I go to view, again, I don't want to use the mouse. What is the shortcut here? Okay, this menu looks little differ. If I use Alt, what happens here? It's nothing is happening, right? Okay, so Alt is just trying to invoke that file menu only. So whenever you see underline for any letter, that is a shortcut key for you. That means if I use Alt V, because under V there is like there is a line, right? Under the V, under the I there is a line, under the O there is a line, under the D there is a line. So there is a line. So if I want to invoke a view, just click on Alt and View, then you'll get that particular window. Otherwise, you can always use your mouse to invoke it. The very first window, though you have a lot of windows, don't want to get confused on the very first stage. First window I want to go here is go to the view. Under the view, there is a very beautiful window which is going to upper coming up on the screen. That is Project Explorer. Okay, Project Explorer. What is the shortcut code for this? Do I need to learn? There's no need to learn. When you before clicking on this Project Explorer, if you see at the right side, there is some shortcut keys mentioned. That is Control R. That means I can invoke that particular window by using Control R. I'll get that window. It is not always left side actually. If you can float it right side, okay. If you are good at looking at right side, make it right. No, I'm not good at right side. I want to put it at down. You can put it down. We'll talk about the importance of this later, but I want to play around with this because most of the participant comebacks, this is coming right side. I want to make it left side, right side, top side. Okay, you can do this way. You can just drag it and drop it at the bottom. Once it shows that gray out area, that means it is fixed at the bottom now forever. Okay, if you make it this right side and drag it at the top, and once you see gray out area, just leave it and it will be at the right side. When you just drag it at the left side, and when you see gray out area, just its left side. When you make it at the top side. So this is the right time to make yourself fixed where you want to fix this particular window, because the way you look at it from the first day, you always want to look till the end of your sessions or end of your working on Excel all the time. Put it at one place. My preference would be always at the left side, because left side, it looks cool, at the same time easy to navigate. Now, we have seen how to play around with this tool, though it is, I don't want to say it's not important. Yes, important, because it will always float here and there and you want to keep it fixed at some place. So very first screen I've seen in VBA today, that is Project Explorer. Okay, the Project Explorer talks about basically like your Windows Explorer. You guys know what is a Windows Explorer. When you go to your Windows Explorer, you will see C drive, D drive, F drive. Under the drives, you have certain folders, right? So it is what it is trying to tell you. It is trying to tell you what is available in computer, how the folder structure is there, how many drives you have, where is your DVD drive, where is your pen drive. It is trying to tell you the structure there, right? In the same way, in the Excel, if I want to see how many Excel sheets are there, okay, there are two sheets right now. If I go to my Project Explorer, it's telling me very clearly this is a VBA project. Okay, you can see at the top, it is telling it's a VBA project, and the project name is book one. Why it is book one? Because I haven't saved the file. If you have saved the file name with some name, it will show VBA project with that name, right? So in Excel, everything is considered as an object. Okay, everything is considered an object. As I mentioned in the demo, you and me is on also an object. Your computer is an object. Your television is a object. Your car is an object. Whatever you see with your naked eyes, everything is an object. And every object will have certain properties and methods. You need to understand this, because if when I want to learn any other programming language also, this is a basic fundamental rule. VBA is object-oriented programming language. You might have heard many times, like Python is a object-oriented programming, C is a object-oriented programming, Java is a object. Every programming language will have these objects. Based on objects only will work. So when it comes to my Excel, what is object? Excel application, it's an object. Your sheet is an object. Your workbook is an object. Your this cells are an object. This entire selection is an object, a range of object. Okay, so that means the sheets also an object. Currently I have 6 sheets, so when I'm writing my code, I can refer to my sheets. Okay, this is sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, and sheet 5, sheet 6, and the last one it's saying this workbook. What does it mean? So Project Explorer basically trying to explain you, okay, I'm a project which consists of 6 sheets now, and the last it is telling this workbook, because all these sheets are existing in a workbook only, right? Still, I'm not getting the answer way to write the code, because that you are going to see next couple of minutes. But let's try to understand more of Project Explorer, because I have to use this Project Explorer very frequently, because I want to write a code. I want to develop the automations. So if I look at my Excel sheet again, I can see there are a lot of sheets here. Let me delete few sheets here to see how my Object Explorer is going to explain me. Once I delete, there were 6 sheets earlier. Now there are only 4 sheets. Now when I go back to my editor, I have only 4 sheets, right? And let me delete one more sheet to make you understand. There are only 3 sheets now. So Project Explorer just basically trying to tell you what my Excel workbook has right now. Is it having 100 sheets, 2 sheets, 3 sheets, whatever? This is basically a project explorer talking about the number of sheets currently your project is holding. The way I said, like Windows Explorer is trying to tell you how many drives I have, how many folders I have, whether my pen drive is connected, whether DVD ROM is connected. It is trying to give you the overall picture of your system folder structure, right? Same way, the Project Explorer is trying to talk about what are the different sheets we have. All right. So after looking at this, I'm still a question really unanswered. Where to write my code? All right. If I want to write my code, do I have a menu in this, in the view menu? Because this is the Project Explorer where anytime you miss, okay, anytime by mistake you close, you can get back this by going to view Project Explorer, or simply click on Control R. That is a one more new keyword what you just saw. That is Control plus R. That is a shortcut key to get your Project Explorer, right? This is to invoke editor. This is to view macros. Of course, this we'll use later in the second week session, maybe, because I haven't written any macros, and Alt F8 is talking about to view macros. I have not written anything. So these are the three shortcuts which you have learned and we are going to use. So I can use Alt tab to shuffle here and there if I'm good at that key. If I want to learn new key, just use Alt F11 to shuffle between your windows. That's the easiest way. Being a developer, you should start using Alt F11 now. Now, having understood the Project Explorer very good, I'm still want to know where to write my code. Very first line of code, if I want to write, where to write. So let me go to the view and see if I have anything related to code related. Okay, I have something called F7. F7 stands for, F7 is a shortcut key which will invoke a code window for you. Let me click on this and see what happens. When I click on F7, I got some window here. Okay, let me remove this for now. Okay, so this is a window. It looks like just like a notepad or a word pad where I can start writing my text, my syntax, my code, my automation information, everything you can write here. So this is a code window, guys, where you're going to write. So the question is, uh, do I need to write the code here only? Is there any other way you can write? Because right now, if you look at the top, it is telling Microsoft Visual Basic for Applications, book one. Of course, this is a book one. And it's telling sheet one code. That means you are sitting in the sheet one. If I click on sheet two, what happens? It's showing you are in the sheet two code. If I click on sheet six, it is telling me you're sitting in sheet six. If I click on this workbook, it is telling me you're writing a code in this workbook. That means you can write the code in the sheets, you can write code in the workbook. But initially, when you are learning, we are not going to write anywhere. Rather, you are going to write in the module. Okay, you are going to write the entire code part in the module. Module is a location in which the entire code is going to sit, okay, or resides. So in order to get your module, I'll just show you. Right click on insert and click on module. What is a module? You can see the folder structure here. It has created one more folder structure where I'm going to write the code. So that means whatever the code you write here, this is for the entire workbook. But if you write any code in the sheet one, that is specific to that sheet only. If you write sheet six, that means you are writing only for the sheet. If you're writing for this workbook, of course, this is writing for everything. But if you write the code in the module one, you are end up writing the code for all the sheets. You are talking about sheet one, sheet two, tomorrow, thousandth sheet. You are talking about all sheets. That is what we are going to write the code and learn the writing code in the modules. After learning writing codes, once you become better in writing codes, then you can start learning how to write the codes in the sheets as well. So the question is, do I need to have only one module in VBA project, or can I have more? You can create as many as modules you want. And the question is, why should I have a more modules also? We'll discuss. The Sorry. So I'm just trying to click on this, go to the insert and click on module, or else you can go to the insert and click on module. This is one way. Or you click on here, click on module, or click on here, click on insert module. You can click on any of the part to create your modules. Okay, you can create anywhere. You can see here I'm clicking wherever I want to insert your modules. Modules are nothing but your building blocks of your code. That means wherever I want, I can write the code. But the question remains same. Do I need to have one module or many modules? Okay. As per my project, what I start analyzing is my project is very small, so I'll be writing only a little bit of piece of code. In that case, you can create only one module and start writing the entire code here. But if your code is you're working with a very complex project where you need to write multiple thousands of lines, instead of writing in single window, write in multiple windows, so that tomorrow if you want to find some errors, when you want to read your code easily, you can easily read it. It's simply Microsoft is giving an opportunity for you to segregate your code into different places rather than putting everything at one place, because it's sometimes it's very tough to read the entire code if you're writing in a single screen. So you can write in multiple screens here. Okay, I just created the modules, but I don't require all these modules. I want to delete it, right? So let me delete it. How to delete it? Just right click on it and say remove. The human tendency is always when you click on delete option or when you are remove option, what happens is you tend to say yes, right? So let me go to my Excel and explain you what I mean. Hiding this, when I say right click and say delete, the first question comes here. Do you want to delete? You always say the very first option, delete. Yes. Okay, you always click on yes, right? But in case of modules deletion is little bit different. That means when you click on module, any module and you want to delete, you are going to say simply remove module. Okay, you are as good as you are trying to delete a module here. So when you say remove a module, human tendency always to click on yes, but here you're not supposed to click on yes, rather you need to say no, because this what it is trying to tell you, do you want to export the module before removing it? That means assuming that you put lot of efforts in creating this entire coding, and before sending to someone, for example, you want to share your code with someone, so you can export this entire code as an Excel file, some module, okay, some extension, you can export that. If you don't want to export, you can say no. When you say no, that means you are trying to delete the module. You can see here, right click, delete, that is remove, no. Right click, remove, say no. This how you can simply remove your modules if you think it is not really required. I don't require this much of modules in my system. So always try to be happy with one module if it is a small project. But if it is a bigger project and you want to segregate your code in a beautiful blocks into a different modules, you can keep it in a different modules. That's a option available. But having said that, nobody is limited. I am not putting any restriction. You should have only, there's no such golden rule here. We should have only one module. You should have only two, not more than three. There's no restriction. You can create 100 modules and you can write, but the more modules, the more confusion always. So always try to have more, two or three, so that you can code is simple, sweet, and easy to understand for anybody. For your review also, it will be very easy.